Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe in Lagos.
It's good to have you join us on the show tonight in London. I'm Austin Okonakwan. Cecilia, I'm super excited to see you on the show tonight. Interesting things happening for Africa at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Senegal are through to the round of 16.
Of course, it's a big one. And when you're talking about the face of Senegalese football, he's not even there. But Koulibaly says, no problem. They had to do the business. And that's what they did earlier today, right there in Qatar. Also on the program, we'll be talking about all the teams that are through to the round of 16. You have France, you have Portugal already through. And of course, you have countries like Netherlands also joining there. We'll touch down on the National Sport Festival. It's starting tomorrow right there in Asaba Delta State. And of course, the Women's League, NWFL, is the first to start. As usual, they're setting the pace. It's starting also tomorrow. So many big games across Nigeria on Wednesday. That's how the Women's League is going to start. And of course, we'll touch down on Mixed Martial Arts. Austin will actually take charge of that because at the National Sport Festival, Mixed Martial Arts will be a sport that will be demonstrated. Yes, it will be a demonstration sport. Yes, there will be no medals to be won, but then they're introducing it to the National Sport Festival. We know how big Mixed Martial Arts is in Nigeria here with having champions, talking about Kamaru Usman and also Israel Adesanya. These are the big stars who are actually ruling the world when it comes to mixed martial arts. Yes, this year hasn't been a great year for both because they lost their fight, but then it's also a big one. That will also get us talking. But then before we get into the business of the World Cup, Austin, you know the National Sport Festival right here in Nigeria, Asaba Delta says precisely, it's starting tomorrow night. And of course, everyone is anxiously waiting for it. We learned that the opening ceremony will be 6 p.m.
And that's it. We're waiting for it so we can actually start giving Delta State some, assessments. We start, ticking where they've done well and where they should have, done better. We've talked about infrastructure development. We've talked about their level of preparedness. They've been giving us assurances. Tomorrow, we will check all of those boxes and see if Delta is truly ready to put up an event that we will remember. But first, they need to beat the record of Edo 2020 because from all indications and what followers of the National Sports Festival that was done in Edo State are saying, Edo did put up a good show pre and post event, and so Delta State they will be looking forward to ensuring that they match that record. We just saw the swimming pool. I love some of the branding done around the swimming pool inside the hall for the gymnasium. We can also see it looks good, Cecilia, but these are all pictures. We'll wait for when athletes start using these facilities, and then they will tell us what they think about it.
Obviously, and the Delta State Governor, Ifeanyi Okowa, is obviously happy with what they are seeing, with what the contractors have done. And of course, he says, look, they are ready to host come tomorrow. Let's take a listen to him.
The stadium and the facilities are all set for the game. I truly must appreciate the local organizing committee and also the contractor that did handle the project. There's no doubt that a lot of work has been put in since the last time that I came in. And you can see that everything is ready. They are just doing cleaning. The game starts at 6 p.m. tomorrow. And obviously, everything is fully set. As it concerns the issue of traffic, I'm sure that the local organizing committee must have looked into that. Luckily for us, inside for vehicular movement inside Asaba, there are lots of interconnecting roads. So I'm not anticipating that we have any major hiccups. In terms of the free flow along the Lagos-Onitsha road, I'm sure that it won't be majorly affected. But the committee working with the Road Safety Corps and also the what people call Kowa Police, I'm sure that they'll be able to deal with all that. I believe we're set. If there's any minor inconvenience that the people suffer, it's part of the things that you see in a normal game. That's what makes people to even feel that something is going on. But I also do believe that with the level of commerce that will take place during the period of the games and the entertainment that comes up with it, with several thousands of people coming in from other states, it's a lot of fun for the people. It's something that is going to also enrich them because of the commerce that takes place.
Yeah, when it comes to traffic or anything, no problem. So he says they're ready. Austin, we're having 12,500 athletes, 38 games, 36 states of the Federation. So Delta State obviously ready to host. And just earlier this evening, the Touch of Unity touchdown in Asaba, Delta State. The Minister of Sports was there. And also, of course, the governor was also, they're receiving that Touch of Unity to signify that, yes, it's almost here.
That's right. Whenever the Touch of Unity touches down in the states where the games will be going down, then it means it's show time. And as you can see, officials of Delta State, the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, led by the minister, are all set and ready. They are right there in Asaba, and they want to give us a national sports festival that we will live to remember. And I just hope that we will remember this national sports festival for the good things. So I'm looking forward to it, Cecilia, actually, because at the time when we are having the World Cup and Nigeria isn't participating, giving attention to the National Sports Festival will once again remind us of the things we need to do for sports development in Nigeria. And that's why I'm pumped up for this one to see how we can leverage on this year's National Sports Festival.
Yeah, we don't have a choice than to do that. All right, again, let's take a listen to, of course, the governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, receiving that Touch of Unity.
Repeat. Thank you. No.
All right, thank you. Here we present.
Yes, His Excellency has received the Touch of Unity.
To the glory of God, we have received, as a state, Delta State will receive the Touch of Unity, signifying the peace and unity that we continuously seek in this nation, and in this instance, through sporting competition. We truly want to use this moment to appreciate Mr. President and members of his cabinet, particularly the Minister for Youth and Sports, Mr. Sunday Dari, for making it possible for Delta State to host the National Sports Festival in year 2022. We are truly very excited. We're prepared for the competition, which takes up tomorrow, the 30th of November. We are glad that this touch of peace and unity has come to Delta State, and it's a prayer that through sports and its development will be able to truly unify this country and cause us to move forward.
That's what it signifies, peace and unity. So the Torch of Unity is already in Asaba, Delta State, because 6 p.m. tomorrow, the opening ceremony will be done. Of course, athletes have started arriving at the Delta State capital, from Edo athletes from Ekiti, Ogun, all across Federal Republic of Nigeria. They've started arriving in the state, just getting ready, for the National Sports Festival. Don't forget, Delta State have been a dominant state in the past few years. And according to what everyone has been saying, what the government have been saying, what the LOC, and even some other athletes saying, Delta State obviously will want to host and also win again. Yes, Edo did a fantastic job the last time, so Delta is actually trying as much as possible to see if they can beat the host team. The facilities, in terms of that, it was described as a world class. Let's see what Delta State will be able to do in terms of hosting. But in terms of the games itself, well, Delta State, when it comes to National Sports Festival, somehow they are the ones that are really holding that torch, just kind of championing it, ensuring that all the athletes are always ready. And the feelers coming from Delta State is that Divine Odujuru might just be, not just might just be, I mean, he was in training, so it seems he will be back on track after a very long time. Of course, he's going to launch his comeback with the National Sports Festival. All right, we'll be talking with Kerry Brown. We talked about him earlier. That's the president of the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation. He will be talking to us on the program tonight. Kerry, Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come on to your show.
Yeah, it's good to have you join us this evening. Now, precisely, I mean, the National Sports Festival in Nigeria, you are right here in Nigeria, of course, because the Mixed Martial Arts will be a demonstration sport right there at the National Sports Festival. How does this make you feel, having to get talent at the local level?
I'm very proud to be associated and to have the invitation to come to the Delta Sport event, and really just gives us the opportunity to tell the journey of the development of the amateur mixed martial arts, and again through the support of the National Federation, which is the Nigerian National Federation, to develop the sport, to show that the sport is safe, and that we have been developing over the last 10 years to ensure that we have a fully gold standard international federation that represents and eventually would be into the Olympic Games. So it gives me a great opportunity to really tell the journey and to explain what we want, which is obviously for the next generation, which is youth, to have this opportunity with the fastest growing sport in the world today, in order to show the development of that Nigeria can stand proud in terms of its athletes, especially when you look at the professional side, when you have Israel Asanya, Francis Ngannou, and you have Usman Kamara. That shows the development of what we're looking from amateur to pro. So it gives us the opportunity to explain to the stakeholders in terms of what's involved in the development of the sport and how safe it is for them to really, where we're looking to get the National Federation recognised to be the entity within the country to look after the full development, whether that be amateur or professional. And that's the key thing that we need to do, is to show that we are the body as the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation that is looking for recognition, to show that we're capable of running this successful sport.
Interesting. I love that. Okay. Yeah, Austin, come in.
Yeah, Mr. Brown, it's good to have you on the show, and welcome to Lagos, Nigeria. I know you mentioned some of the things that needs to be done, but I want to know, with what you've seen as regards the development of mixed martial arts in Nigeria, in what ways can the country improve?
Good question. I mean, to improve it, you have to recognise it. So we have to get the ministers and the National Committee to endorse, first and foremost, the National Federation. So Henry George, the president, and then Mario, who's the vice president, are doing a fantastic job on the ground. But they need support from governmental level to ensure the safety of the sport. What we want is the next generation to ensure that the development of the sport is certified in all areas: judges, referees, volunteers, everybody within the sport. So I come from judo, and my background is that I've been competing all my life at a high level, world, European, and Olympics. And what we want is the same for mixed martial arts. We develop the federation, and what we want is the national federations to take on the groundwork for the next generation, which is youth. Ultimately, we want to ensure to give them the best opportunity and to represent their country at the highest level. So we're talking about, you have a sports festival coming up. This is fantastic because it's all about the engagement sports and the ability to give them a platform to show their skills. Now, we have the opportunity with mixed martial arts, but there's been a lot of perception, and the perception where the sport come from hasn't been good. We've cleaned that up, and we're now the ones that are putting in good governance, the integrity of the sport to ensure, and that's through our national federation. Your national federation is doing a fantastic job, and we'll demonstrate that at the festival to ensure that people understand that this is a safe sport, and it's ultimately that it has good support from a lot of people. When you look at the national brewery that's given their support as well from Nigeria, it just gives me great confidence to see that the development, and that's why I'm here. I want to spread the word. I want to ensure that people understand that we're here to change people's perception, to ensure that people feel that it's a safe sport, and that we're guaranteeing that we can deliver at a gold standard, when we have our events from a national level in selecting their athletes to go from the representing to the World Championships and even to Youth World Championships. So I think that's an important factor, that we're here to spread the message, to ensure that the people at the top, the stakeholders, understand that there is a change and that the sport is here to stay, and that the next generation, we have to safeguard them, and that's working with the National Federation.
Yeah, sounds good. After UFC 281, I listened to Dana White saying it would be good to bring a UFC fight to Nigeria. That was really heartwarming. Now, if you take a look at the impact of Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman, who are proud Nigerians, and to an extent, Sadiq, with what you've seen and what you've heard, is there a market for the UFC in Nigeria?
There's always a market. UFC are always looking for new countries to showcase their athletes at the highest level. And as I said to you, you have 3 African world champions, or at the time before, obviously a few weeks ago, you had 3 world champions and that have represented Africa. And I think that shows the talent pool that's in Africa and within Nigeria, to ensure that we continue the pathway. So I think it's important that we reflect that Nigeria can stand up, have its structure ready to receive, UFC at the highest level, to put on a promotion here that the rest of the world can see that, different than France or UK or America. So I think, I'm here to see for myself the infrastructure and what is here. And then ultimately, we do work with UFC. They are one of our sponsors. So, I'll go back with a report in terms of what is currently happening in Nigeria, to ensure that they understand, because they want to come. They do want to come, and they do want to put on a show in Africa. So, I would like it to be in Nigeria for sure, 110%. So, for me, it's a shout out to the minister to ensure that, the Honourable Minister, Sonny, they understands that, we're here to fully support and help, all round to ensure that we're fully supportive, especially around with the National Federation. The National Federation is key to the development of the sport, just like judo, karate, wrestling, boxing. And we have to do that. We have to ensure there's a clear pathway, and that there is a federation that has the autonomy to look after amateur and professional. So when UFC comes, the National Federation works with them on the ground to ensure that they have the facilities to give them what they're required in order to, put on a great show.
Yeah, interesting. Finally, before we let you go, what are the chances that in the next National Sport Festival, we're going to be having MMA, mixed martial arts, as part of the competition, no longer as demonstration sports?
It'd be absolutely amazing. It's what I want. This is why I'm here. I'm here to, show my support in terms that I believe that this should be included, and that's what we're pushing for. Because at some point, MMA will be in the Olympics at some point. It's where the next generation are transcending to, and we have to ensure that there's a clear pathway. So having that national event and having it as a incorporated in the festival will be absolutely amazing, and I'll be here for sure to support it, every year.
Kerith Brown, thank you so much for taking our time to join us on Sports Tonight to talk about MMA and, of course, development of the sport in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
All right. After the break, of course, we'll be talking about the FIFA World Cup, and Badaki Johnson will be joining us. Stay with us. Welcome back. Of course, Phil Foden and Marcus Rashford, they're helping England to lead 2-0 against Wales. You would say they are already in the round of 16. Of course, for USA, Christian Pulisic was the one who gave them the first half goal. They're also a goal up against Iran. Bada Kintude Johnson will join me to talk about the FIFA World Cup and, of course, how it is to actually watch a World Cup without Nigeria. I can't remember the last time we had to watch a World Cup without having the Super Eagles of Nigeria flying the flag high, but they are not there. But African countries, Senegal, for instance, they are in the round of 16, despite not having Sadio Mane in their midst. Of course, Koulibaly had to do the job. Ismail Assar also had to come to the party for the Senegalese team. It's now left for Morocco and Ghana to see if they can win their last 2 games and also get into the round of 16. Bada will join us to talk about this. Of course, Austin is still in London. Before we get into that, waiting for Bada to join. Okay, Bada is actually ready to join us on the program. Good evening. It's nice to have you join us.
Good evening, Cecilia. It's been a minute. Good to be on the show. Good to be back on the channel. And good to be here on the biggest stage. The World Cup is on. We've had a week plus of the best of football that one can imagine. Almost an overdose. 4 football games back to back on a daily basis. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been amazing because, I mean, people who are in Qatar right now, I think this is the most enjoyable World Cup where some people can even afford to watch 2-3 games in a day because they're very actually close to each other. That's why we're really missing it. Imagine having to watch it. So it goes from there, you go watch England, and of course you watch Senegal in the same day when you're covering.
Well, I guess there are always pros and cons to stuff. That's one of the benefits of a country as small as Qatar hosting it. Remember the last, I think 2014 in Brazil, a country with such a vast landmass, hosting it, people had to travel several hours to get from one match venue to another. But in Qatar, because the country is so small,
yeah,
you as you said, people can watch a game at this center and make it down to another match center. So there are always, benefits to what people may have otherwise perceived as a disadvantage. So it's a great feeling. I mean, I see the festivities. It's carnival-like. It's as it is at the zenith of world football on the international stage. Everyone that's traveled is having a time of their life.
Yes.
The teams, have attested to the hospitality, the quality of the hospitality that they've been afforded by the host. So I think this has been an excellent World Cup so far. On and off the pitch, there's been very little incidences that you can call negative, if at all. So I am enjoying it. I'm loving it. And it's come at an unprecedented, it's an unprecedented World Cup in terms of the timing of it, the scheduling of it, coming at the end of the year when typically you'll be watching a lot of club football. And we wondered what that was going to mean. Okay. Were the players going to be knackered? Were they going to be dead on their legs, seeing as it's smack in the middle of the football season? But I don't think that the quality of football has suffered from the exertions of the football season being on before the World Cup started. I think if anything, it means that the players came in warm. There's been surprises. There's been top teams like Spain, like France and Brazil, fully representing in terms of bringing, their full powers to bear on results. And there's been, surprises. Iran last match day, for instance, beating Wales was a surprise, but there's been no surprise half as big as Saudi Arabia claiming Argentina's scalp in the very first game. So I think it's had all the trappings you would expect from the World Cup, and I'm absolutely loving it.
All right, let's get down to today's business, starting with Group. Of course, Austin, okay, yeah. Austin, go ahead. We're going to talk about Group A. I mean, how it found out earlier today.
Not to throw in any form of negativity. I appreciate everything Bada talked about, but of course, it's an unusual World Cup, and because of the stress, some of our top players also got injured. We don't have Benzema here. We don't have Sadio Mane here. And on FIFA, they've said that, look, we're not going to have this sort of World Cup again. So I totally agree with almost everything you talked about that. So let me not throw more negativity.
Even when we have summer World Cups, big players get injured. Beckham got injured on the eve of a World Cup that was staged in the summer, had a hairline fracture on his metatarsal at the time when he was, the global superstar in football, and they had to literally pack him up. Drogba had an injury, I think I was 2006 or so, before Ivory Coast went to the World Cup. So you really can't mitigate these things, to be honest. I don't think it's peculiar to this particular World Cup. Yes, there are individual superstars that we would have loved to see that are missing out because they got injured, unfortunately. Sadio Mane, case in point, maybe the biggest one of them, in my own opinion. But the Senegalese are soldiering on without him. They're in the next round now. Unfortunately, I mean, I guess personally, it's more painful because age is not on his side. It might be the last opportunity he had to showcase his skills at the World Cup. But he'll be delighted that his team is doing well without him. Today, for instance, I thought they were excellent from start to finish against Ecuador. They dominated the game from the start of the game. And as you can see, the responsibility for goal scoring is being shouldered by other people. Ismail Assar, the Watford guy, got the first goal, ice cold penalty kick, no look penalty. When everything was riding, the hopes of a nation was riding on that kick. He had the had ice in his veins to play no look penalty. You've got to give it to him. Even when they conceded, I thought that the nerves were going to be jangling. But what did they do? They responded almost instantly. Koulibaly, from a free kick. So they were solid. They were very impressive. Back to front, the movement, the quality of the passing, some of the interplay was intricate. They looked very confident. They looked like they were up for it. They knew that they needed to win for their nation, and they went there and they left no stone unturned. So they're full value for their progression. I'm loving the Senegalese team, and I believe that maybe they can go as far as they did in 2002.
I'm loving it too, because they knew they needed to win to advance. They understood the mission. They went on to win. So let's get a confirmation of Group A results today, where Senegal became the first African team to reach the round of 16 after beating Ecuador by 2-1. Bada just did a good job in analyzing that one. Senegalese, what a story. No money, no problem. The Netherlands also booked their place in the round of 16. By the way, Cody Gokpa became, I think, the 5th player to score 3 consecutive World Cup goals. So he's on some fire. Bada, you have anything to say about the Netherlands team?
Yeah, I thought that they were unfairly criticized last match day because they drew against Ecuador. This is a World Cup where teams are not going to roll over and die. Ecuador played really well. In fact, I thought that the Dutch were maybe lucky to have gone away with a point from that game, but there's no taking away from the quality of their team. Back to front, Van Dijk has been solid as usual with Matthijs de Ligt in the center of defense. They play a 3-man defense, actually. In midfield, they've got Frankie de Jong. They've got other superstars that are doing really, really well in this competition. Memphis Depay patched up for the competition, but he's looked the part as well. But Cody Gakpo, in the summer, he was linked to the move to Manchester United. Didn't happen. But how he has announced himself on the biggest stage possible. Wow. 3 goals in 3 consecutive games. Gakpo is absolutely on fire. I'll be surprised if he's still a PSV player next season. It does look like he might even be making a January move in the winter transfer window. So Manchester United, if they weren't convinced before, now they have absolutely no reason to doubt the abilities of this incredible football player who has now. He plays as a winger, really, but he's now added goal scoring to his game. His all-round play is super impressive. He links up play very nicely, plays other people in good positions. But in this World Cup, he's shown that he's a sharpshooter, and he's not missing. He's firing on all cylinders. 3 goals from 3 matches. He's been one of the standout performers in this year's World Cup, without a doubt.
I totally agree. Cecilia, I want to bring you into the conversation now. We'll get a confirmation of that Group A results again and then see the table. But Cecilia, any surprises? Were you expecting Ecuador to, do anything today?
Yeah, I think when you look at the Senegalese team, let's a confirmation of what it's looking like. That's the table right there after 3 games. Of course, Netherlands has 7 points from 3 matches. And for Senegal, 2 out of 2. They lost their opening game to Netherlands. Ecuador, it was 4 points. That couldn't pull them through. Yes, they expected it, but somehow it just didn't happen for them. I think, Austin, my take is Senegalese wanted it more. Now, before the game, Koulibaly talked about the fact that they got motivation from Sadio Mane. It's as if he's actually present with them, right? He's always talking with them all the time. And they said, look, okay, yes, we know he's a star. Yes, Sadio Mane symbolizes football in Senegal, but he's not here. They have to do him proud. And that was the fighting spirit that they had. I mean, you watch what the way the whole players, went into the field. We were watching the game. I'm like, okay, these guys understand what's at stake. And they do. And at the end of the day, they wanted it more. And that's why they won. And the first 8 minutes of the game, they could have been 2 goals up. They missed their chances, but somehow that didn't deter them. They went ahead, and of course, they got those goals. And even when Ecuador equalized, it was 1-1. We thought, okay, what's going to happen to Senegal? They head on. I mean, equalized Koulibaly. I mean, what a striker should be. I mean, most strikers will be like, how did he do that? They will be proud of a goal like that. Well, we've seen confirmation of what it's like. That group how it ended. Let's quickly, take reaction. Not just, I mean, celebrations. Senegalese fans, yes, they wanted Sadio Mane to be here, but Sadio Mane is not here. But without him, they are in the round of 16. Remember the last time they made it out? It was far back in 2002. And of course, the guy who scored that goal for them, Papa Diop, he died 2 years ago. That 42 years old. And the coach actually dedicated the victory to him. But for Koulibaly, he dedicated his to Sadio Mane. It's Austin, the celebration, I mean, is palpable. The way the fans are celebrating, went all the way to Qatar to watch their team. And of course, they're in the round of 16, even without having Sadio Mane. I mean, you have to, give it to Senegal. I mean, flying Africa flag so high.
I'm so proud of the Teranga Lions, and their fans are so pumped up. They're so energetic. I was with them at the AFCON in Cameroon. Right after every game, you see them come out, they sing, they dance. They're always standing by their team, and that's what you need your supporters to, actually do. So a good win for Senegal. We just hope that they keep it. I tweeted and take it a step further. I know from this stage of the competition, it gets tougher, and that's why I want to bring Bada in now. The game between England and Wales, Marcus Rashford just got his brace, so it's England 3, Wales 0. If it ends this way, it seems Senegal will be meeting England. What are your expectations?
Tasty pairing there. I was hoping for it because I wanted the champions of Africa to go up against England, who came close to becoming champions of Europe themselves at home. The champions of Europe are not here, so maybe they are deputy champions of Europe. So let's have the might of African champions go up against the might of the deputy champions of Europe and see who comes out tops. But I do believe that the Senegalese have the quality to deal with the firepower of this English team, even though they rested Raheem Sterling and Bukayo Saka from the start. They still had the quality of Phil Foden and Marcus Rashford to replace them, flanking Harry Kane either side. And you can see the fluidity, the fluency of their play. Declan Rice has been one of their best players in this competition. Also, the Borussia Dortmund youngster Jude Bellingham has been outstanding. Henderson came in for this particular game. He's also thrown his weight around. England are pouring quality from back to front. Even the much maligned Manchester United central defender, Maguire, is doing well in this competition alongside John Stones. Yeah, they have Kyle Walker back from injury now, so that's a boost for them on the right side of the defense as well. So this England team is as strong as they come, and they've shown in the last 2 major tournaments that they have the temperament to go far in competitions like this. They were in the semifinals of the World Cup. They finished second at the Euros. Their Nations Cup campaign didn't exactly go to plan, but this team has sort of been together for quite a bit. They've got in-tournament experience together, and they will be a very hard nut to crack for the Senegalese. But I believe that with the nation of Africa, if I can say that, the entire continent willing them on, and the quality that they've got. And a lot of people underestimate the quality that this Senegalese team has got. This is not a team that is scrapping for quality. This is a team that is filled with experienced campaigners plying their trade in some of the best leagues in the world from back to front. From Mendy, who's goalkeeper at Chelsea, to some of their strikers, Ismail Assar, for instance, might be playing in the Championship, but he's shown his quality in the Premiership before they were relegated. Across the park, Idrissa Gueye, until recently, was playing for PSG, now plays for Everton. Cheikhou Kouyaté didn't even play today. He was injured, but he wasn't missed because they threw in, similar quality, in replacement. So I think the Senegalese will be up against it because this England team is really good, but they can get revenge. They can avenge the loss that Cameroon suffered to the English at the quarterfinal stage of Italian 90. That one I haven't forgiven, and I'm hoping that the Teranga Lions can avenge the loss of their fellow Lions, the Indomitable Lions, from 1990 when they come up against England in the round of 16.
All right, let's
quickly agree with you that it's going to be a tasty fixture. Cecilia, England seem to be bossing it against Wales. They will meet Senegal next. Bada is beaming with confidence on current form. Senegalese team looks good too. But do you have worries for the Teranga Lions in that one?
This World Cup, when it started, I told you I have a team, and of course happens to be Senegal. So obviously, analysis-wise, of course, we know the quality the English boys possess is higher. We know that. But then if you want to take a look at the fact that the die-hard spirit that they showed tonight, I think Senegalese might just nick this one. But then this is story for another day. Let's quickly take a look at the games for tomorrow. Of course, France will be in action against Tunisia. You also have Poland and Argentina will also be in action. Saudi Arabia and Mexico also be in action. Of course, Argentina, they know what to do to get into the round of 16. Australia and Denmark will be in action. And of course, Tunisia and France will also be in action. For Australia, of course, they know what they're playing for. I mean, it's been 16 years since that their golden generation got out of the group stage. For Tunisia, they are at the bottom of the group. They have to pick a win against France to stand a chance of actually getting out of that group. Is all poised. But then our focus obviously going to be on Argentina quickly. I mean, Bada, the Argentines, of course, when they lost their opening game to Saudi Arabia, and people were like, what's going to happen to Messi? Nobody was talking about the whole team, but all eyes were obviously on Argentina. And now Lewandowski, of course, finally got his World Cup goal. And Messi finally helped Argentina to lift off that kind of the pressure that was on them when they lost their opening game after they won against Mexico 2-0. What's going to happen in this game? I mean, Argentina, they know what's at stake. They know what to do to get into the round of 16. Can they beat Poland?
Of course, they've got the quality to beat Poland, but I think this might have a little bit of an anticlimactic, way that it plays out, because these teams know that for both of them to go through, all they have to do is play a draw. I'm not saying there will be an accord game, but if you consider the fact that the two of them are in that sort of strong position where a draw gets both of them through, I don't think that they're going to be going, hammer on thongs, trying to, break a neck, break a leg to win it. Argentina obviously is the superior team on paper, and they had the most nerve-wracking of starts, losing to Saudi Arabia. But that win against Mexico has sort of settled them down. You could see that it was weight off the shoulders. Once that first goal from Messi went in, and then Gonzalez came in and added the cherry on the cake. So expect a more controlled, a more composed Argentina. This team, as I said to people after they lost Saudi Arabia, couldn't have gone 36 games unbeaten over 3 years, being bad. They're not a bad team. They just underestimated Saudi Arabia, and the well-drilled Javier Renard coached team shut them out in the second half after scoring 2 quick-fire goals in 5 minutes. And Argentina lost, and heaped a lot of pressure on themselves. That pressure is somewhat off now. That if, won, they're on 3 points now. And they know a point gets them through against Poland. They'll go for it, I'm sure. Messi and co, Di Maria, Rodrigo de Paul, all of that quality we would expect will be on show and, should win the game against this Polish team. But I feel like it might not be the barnstormer. It might not be the cracker that we expect, because these two teams have that security of, knowing that not losing the game gets both of them through. They knock out, the other two teams in the group. All eyes on Messi. Does he keep his goal-scoring run going? He scored in the 2 previous games, scored a penalty against Saudi Arabia, scored an absolute scorcher from outside of the box against Mexico. Is his last tournament, he says, and everyone, just based off the form they were coming into the tournament with, Copa America champions, undefeated in three years, everyone expected that Argentina was going to show the kind of form that France and Brazil are showing, but can they recover? Can they make it the sort of experience that Spain had in 2010 when they lost their first game to Switzerland, but they went on to win the tournament? Can that be Argentina's story? That's the question on everyone's lips. And can Messi inspire this group of Argentines to go on and win this tournament? And speaking injuries, referencing what Austin was talking about earlier, Argentina seemed like the most unfortunate of teams, apart from maybe France, in the lead up to this competition where they lost key players. Giovanni Lo Celso, for instance, who's been a key component of their team in midfield, was lost to injury. And you can see how they've struggled in the middle of the pack. They've not had that player who links defense into midfield and into attack. And Messi has been dropping deep. And when he drops deep, teams have a higher chance of being able to stop him before he gets into dangerous areas of the pitch. You don't want to see Messi playing too close to his defense because they know that before he runs 15 yards, they can stop him without considering a penalty or without considering a dangerous free kick. So I expect the coach to play Messi, further afield and give him that freedom to hurt teams when they get balls across to him, like he did against Mexico when Di Maria found him with that long pass from out wide, and he took a touch and blasted into the corner of the net. So I expect Argentina to win. I don't expect them to put all at stake to win it. They will do maybe bare minimums or a little above that to win it. But if they don't win it, they know they will go through alongside Poland, and then they will conserve their energy for the challenges that lay ahead in the round of 16 and beyond if they progress.
Awesome. That's in Group C. Group D is also a very tight group. Aside France, the defending champions that have made it to the round of 16, either Australia, Tunisia, and the other team can also make it. That's Denmark, can also make it to the next round. Denmark, for instance, came with a lot of quality, came with a lot of assurances, but football can just be difficult, particularly when they fail to win their first game against Tunisia. The coach has been speaking ahead of that crucial match against Australia. Australia, by the way, won their first game, and so they sit second on the table with 3 points. The Danes need to win tomorrow to keep hopes alive. Let's listen to the coach.
I expect, as always, a great collective side who has qualities. They have really some strengths in the team, both individually, but mostly as a team, just like we do. We also define ourselves as a very strong unit and a team that works very well together. And that's what I see. It's a well-organized football team. They have strength in the organization, in the way they work together. They attack together, they defend together, and they stick to a plan. And they have some quality players, and with some strengths that's really we have to be sure that we're aware of. And I think both with the young players they have, but also the experienced players. And we know this. We met them 4 years ago as well. It was a very, very tight game, and it was a draw. And I expect equally this one will be a tight game.
A very, very tight game for the Danes, because Australia will fancy their chances, try to see if they can get a draw out of that one and advance to the round of 16, because, I mean, the bookmakers quickly will say the defending champions, France, will beat Tunisia, and then Australia might just go through. Let's take a listen to the Australian coach, and then we'll get back to respond to this.
They're a strong team. They are ranked number 10 in the world for a reason. But again, I keep saying this, but the focus is solely on ourselves and making sure that the players recover well, and they're in a good headspace and ready to go.
We all know the job at hand, and like I said, we've worked so hard to get to this position, and we've always believed that, you know, we can create something special. You know, when the Socceroos got out of the group in 06, I was a proud fan, and now, you know, we have the opportunity to be players and do that. And as we saw how proud it makes the people back home, so we're doing it for the country, for ourselves, for our friends, for our family, and, you know, that's motivation in itself.
Yeah, doing it for friends, family, and for career is enough motivation for Australia. But let me get your views as regards Group D. It's done and dusted for the defending champions, France. Australia can still pull through. Denmark can still go through. Tunisia, they sit bottom of the table with 1 point. Their goalless draw against Denmark in the opening game. Can Tunisia create anything special against France?
It's not going to happen. I wish it would, but it won't happen. France, even with their B team, will be too strong for Tunisia rather. I expect that Didier Deschamps will ring the changes. We'll probably see the likes of William Saliba, who hasn't gotten a minute, even though, you know, all season people have been raving about him being one of the best central defenders, and that's testament to the quality of this French team. From back to front, they've just got so much quality, and on top of that, Kylian Mbappe has brought a sterling form into the World Cup. He scored 3 goals already, and I think they're gonna have Tunisia for lunch. And I think in the other game, Denmark will be too strong for Australia. The Danes were not at it. They were not on it when they played Tunisia in the first game. Will be kicking themselves because they should have won that game. We were happy because the African team kept them quiet. But we know that this is last chance saloon. They have to beat Australia if they must progress. And you saw how well they did at the last Euros. They made it to the semi-finals, even after they suffered the Christian Eriksen incident. So they're a very strong team, a team with quality. Christian Eriksen is back, is playing. Of course, the French proved too strong for them, but similarly, they will prove too strong for this Australian team. I love the Australians. I love the organization. I love the tenacity. They play with a lot of discipline. But in terms of quality, this Denmark team is just in a different league, in a different world.
We'll see tomorrow. But Akintunde Johnson, I must say thank you so much for your time on the show. It's always a delight to have you on Sports Tonight. Cecilia, I'll just get your views before I say goodbye.
Okay, my views quickly. I think the Women's League is starting to roll. I don't know if we have time or 30 seconds to run through the fixtures for tomorrow. Bayelsa Queens and Rivers Angels will be in action. You also have Niger Rattles and Heartland will also be in action. Oshun Babes and Royal Queens are some of the games for tomorrow. But Austin, of course, we have to leave right now because, all right.
You got a chance to talk about women's football.
Tomorrow.
We'll get more time to talk about it tomorrow. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakwan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
And I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.